Hello there. In this new episode of The Story Behind the Business, we're here with Chuck Prenevost. He's one of our customers here in Vancouver. Chuck, thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here, Randy.
Yeah, so for those who don't know you yet, tell us, how did you start your business? What's the story behind it?
Okay, first things first. If you look over my left shoulder, that is a 1985 Macintosh Plus. And I keep that as a memento of my entrepreneurial journey because that was my very first computer back in the mid-80s.
Wow.
So
we're part of the computer revolution. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I look at it every day and it reminds me of my humble beginnings. So give you a synopsis of it. Graduated from business quite a few years ago. Thought about being an entrepreneur. Came out of school with the classic student debt. Had to get some money, so I worked for somebody for 4 years in the Toronto market, and quickly realized that working for somebody else was not my journey. And so I still had all the business education philosophies floating around in my head, so I applied some of that. So university does work for those who are out there. And we started a business in the Toronto market, so it was a B2B service-based business, and we ran that for 21 years in the Toronto area. Grew it to number 2, and I did the classic entrepreneurial thing. I took the money, I sold it at the top of the game, and we may get into a slightly different question here, Randy, around how did you grow it? We grew it to number 2 in the Toronto market and decided that, okay, it's time to do something different. And my wife and I are both massive skiers. We were vacationing in Whistler for 15 years. And after a while, we just said, what are we doing? We love it out in BC. Took the, sold the business, put it up for auction. Well, not auction, but put it up for sale in a very strategic manner, and got top dollar for it. And then that was the catalyst for moving out west. Out west, I had to reinvent myself. Took 2 years off, skied at Whistler, loved it. I'm a part-time ski instructor up there, so of course that helps. And then realized that needed to get active again, generate income, give myself some new goals and whatnot. So I got involved in the franchise industry, so as a franchise specialist. So I essentially help people and guide people through a research process so they can find the right business that matches their background, skills, and goals. So I coach them through that process, and been doing that for 15 years now. And been enjoying that a lot. And, I've got a couple of side gigs going as well, passive investment type of things, which you may want to talk about or not. But there's the short version.
Yeah, I love it. Most people who sold their businesses, they get bored as F. And they start getting new ideas lying on the beach saying, hey, maybe I should get a beach stand, a business, maybe I should get a beach service, and people just get creative because they get bored. So It's so glad to hear that you got creative and you got into business again. And doing so many side things at the same time, how do you manage to focus on what really matters? We are running on EOS, this entrepreneurial operating system, which focus is so important, and we as entrepreneurs get distracted by so many shiny objects all the time. And the most important skill sometimes is just to focus on one thing and be laser focused there. How do you manage to focus on the most important things, the ones that move the needle for your business, when you have so many side gigs and so many other hobbies and passions? And now we know you're a part-time ski instructor too. And how do you accomplish that?
That has been one of the biggest challenges that I have faced, but I will go as far as saying most entrepreneurs will face the same challenge. And you're absolutely right. It's focus and being disciplined in that focus. So one of the first things I did, it's a very simple task. My business coach kicked me in the butt and basically said, you have to do this. And I went, why? It's your calendar. And what I did was I took out blocks of time, usually 2 hours at a time, where I will do a specific task on business A. Then block B would be for business B. Block C would be for the third business that I'm involved in. And it was hard, believe me, it was hard to go through that journey of getting away from pings, dings, and rings. Mm-hmm. All your notifications and phones ringing. So that's part of the distraction. And what I found was once I disciplined myself to put the cell phone away, not look at the notifications, and sometimes lock the door to my office. It's a home-based office, so it's easy to do. And really just go for the next 2 hours. Nothing else is getting in my mind, in my brain, until I complete this task. And this task is X. And when I look at how do I be most efficient with my time, and even to this day, I have challenges. It's never going to go away. I will, be the first to admit that. But it becomes tactically, how do I execute? And part of it is understanding, A, what your strategy is for that particular business, where you want to move the needles, and then tactically, how do I move that needle? So a lot of it does start with that. My favorite thing is sitting with a cup of coffee in the morning and spending about an hour of quiet time. Just myself. In the winter months when it's dark out, I actually like sitting in the dark with my coffee because it clears my thoughts and it gets me super focused on here's what I need to do today to make my business A, B, or C better.
Awesome. I love those clarity breaks. We apply them at the company too. Like every leadership team member needs to have 1 hour clarity break a week where they have to write down what's the most important goal or task that they need to complete this week. What's the most important thing they need to get done for the next quarter? What's the most important thing they need to get done today? And it's similar to the noise versus signal ratio that Steve Jobs talks so much about, mentioning the Macintosh. There is so much noise out there, but there is a few things that produce a signal that you want that actually is what really matters. So if someone shadow you for a week right now, what will surprise them the most about how you run your business?
What would surprise them the most? How do you juggle so much? And it comes right back to my previous comments around, I own my calendar. No one else owns my time or my calendar. And I am vigilant who gets on my calendar. So that's going to be the first thing. They may be surprised at. The other is, just laying out, and that's where the quiet time and the thinking comes in, where it's like, okay, today I have to execute on A, B, C, and D. And then look at, even though you still get emails coming in, you get those pings, dings, and rings coming in, you manage that, but you also still have to stay focused on that. And yes, sometimes I work into the evening hours because entrepreneurs do that. They are goal focused. They want to set their goals and they want to achieve those goals. So that's what I would anticipate somebody would be surprised at. The other piece and why I love being an entrepreneur, which I think will come into play to this question, is I enjoy building relationships with people, business, potential customers or existing customers. And I put a massive amount of weight and value on my network. And how do I leverage the network in order to grow my business? So that's one of the levers, right, that you referred to. So how do I do that? So that's where I want to spend my time because I feel I'm good at it. I love doing it. So there's that passion piece. So if that's the case, how do I offload everything else? Audit, admin-based, accounting-based, all those other aspects of a business that need to happen, sometimes on a daily basis, monthly basis. And that's really been the goal over the last year. I know you and I have joked about this in the past, but ultimately, my goal has always been the same. how do I make myself obsolete in my own business?
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah, build a business that doesn't depend on you, that is sell ready anytime.
Right.
It's a better run business that runs better.
Well, it gives me as the owner maximum flexibility. I can trust
Hmm.
my team. Do you go through some HR challenges? Of course, every business does. But you have now the ability to hopefully reach one of your macro goals of, okay, so when I retire, what do I want to do with this business?
Hmm.
Do I want to sell it? Well, if I go down the sales, selling the business road, a business that has a team in place versus all the knowledge being around inside the owner's head, that team in place has a much higher resale value
Hmm.
versus an owner operator where the owner controls and has that, call it intellectual property of how the business is run.
Hmm.
So that's my goal, make myself obsolete in my own business so I can achieve that goal if I decide to do that.
Yeah, I understand. So you can design your perfect week, your perfect year, and preload your perfect life doing only things that you enjoy doing, things that energize you, things that light you up, or things that make you more money, and just delegate everything else. So when you were doing this calendar audit, checking out on your calendar where you're spending your time, auditing what you're doing with your time, if how much hours, how many hours are you spending on admin work, on bookkeeping, on things that you could delegate to someone else. What was that breaking point that made you realize I can't keep doing this all by myself? I need help. I need to delegate.
Simple, 16-hour days for days on end.
Mm.
Right?
Missing dinners with the family.
Yeah, yeah, all of that, right? Sacrificing time with family, not getting out and riding my bike or mountain biking, all those outdoor activities that I love to do. That was it. And I found that those multiple days in a row of 16-hour days, because you had to do it because there was nothing else. It's a grind. It grinds you down mentally and emotionally. So I had to recognize it first and foremost. But then once I did, then I reached out and said, okay, how do I change this? And, without a shameless plug for your company is you offered me a solution to help me with that. And to this day, I love it because I've gained back somewhere between 5 to 10 hours a week of my time. And that may not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but the way I look at it, put a value on your time. I jokingly say to CRA and the provincial sales tax people, hey, my time's worth $350 an hour. You're asking me to do all these things, really are not good value for my time because I would rather be out generating revenue. So that is, the 16-hour days was grinding me down. And it does, it grinds you down. I don't care how strong of an entrepreneur you are, it will grind you down. So changing that first and foremost, realizing that and then discussing options. Your company was one of my options. We were very fortunate to meet in one of our networking groups. And when you stood up and did your 1 minute pitch about your company,
25 seconds.
25 seconds, thank you. It was like, oh my goodness, I need to talk to that guy, right? Because it was perfect timing for what I needed. And as I've grown my business, so I'm going to refer to my third business now, which is a franchise business that I bought for myself. That business now has a team of 6 people. I effectively have gained back 15 to 20 hours of my time on a weekly basis, and I am chasing down revenue, sales, relationships, and networking, the things I enjoy doing. And it's quite a bit more enjoyable these days.
Yeah. Did you get to ride your bike? I learned that you recently were able to go on a 3-week vacation after 3 years of no time off.
Yeah, after 3.5 years of starting this new business, the new franchise business from scratch, it was really our first extended holiday. Yeah, so 3.5 years, I took 3.5 weeks off.
1 per year, awesome. And then this executive assistant slash bookkeeper, Dana, who we connect you with from our company in Latin America, how she has helped you buy back your time. Like what you used to do yourself, but now she's doing for you.
Yeah, the basically the processing of checks and revenue coming in, properly documenting it from a bookkeeping perspective. So then I have my month end much smoother. And as you can imagine, we have, call it 100 customers, just to round a number. That's 100 transactions every month.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of time processing. So Dana has been fabulous in being able to assist me with that. And that process alone has gained back 10 hours a week for me.
Yeah, so imagine that your hourly rate is 350 times 10, 3,500 every week. When those things needed to be done, but they didn't have to get done by you. They could be done by someone else at a fraction of the cost. Because if they are done by you, you're costing your business money, right? Because your hourly rate is higher, and you should be working on things that will bring more revenue, like you mentioned, building relationships, networking, or even taking care of your health. And if you do those things that you can delegate for, let's say, $12 an hour, then you're costing your business money. So what else are you currently doing in this calendar audit that you could delegate for less than 25% of your hourly rate?
There is still, so we recently promoted one of our staff to a service manager role. So there's this transition that's happening now where customers would email me directly, and I'm now putting the service manager in the front line as the point of contact. So I'm slowly but surely introducing the service manager to all of our customers to say, hey, I'm here. If you need me, I'm here. They have my phone number. But going forward, this person is the person that would be more efficient in responding to you. And that has been very, very helpful. That's probably 5 hours a week of not responding to emails that are time consuming. They're more at a service manager level than they are at my level, in the sense of where I enjoy producing revenue, chasing down sales.
Yeah, basic customer service. Yes, I get it, completely get it. And now, working with our professionals in Latin America, is it your first time working remotely with someone?
Yes, yeah, and I was nervous. I'm not going to lie. You and I had to have a couple of conversations. Part of any relationship is building trust. So when I first heard about your services, it was like, okay, this sounds good, but I need to know more. I need to know who is behind this operation. So you were gracious enough to spend time with me and, look at this is how we do things. This is, a very professional organization. So that built trust in my mind so that I can make that decision to say, okay, let's move forward and engage.
Yeah, especially because it's handling confidential information, very sensitive information. And I remember your questions around it. And I remember it gave you peace of mind, the idea that we will provide a dedicated work computer so they won't be using their personal laptops, that all the information will be secure and protected, that we had a support team making sure that everything is taken care of from the IT side of things, from the human resources side of things, from the account management side of things. Yeah. And now, what's one thing you believe about remote work or Latin American talent that turned out to be wrong after you had this first experience?
It turned out to be wrong. My initial reaction, Randy, is zero, because it went smoothly. The onboarding was slow and cautious by design on my side. Dana stepped up in every aspect. Sure, there was, just communication back and forth. I call it learning each other's cadence of communication and how best to communicate with each other. That was naturally for both parties. when I think back of all of the things now, of all those processes, since we've been working together for the last 3.5 months, I think, there's not a single time where I've had to email Dana and basically say, I'm upset, we need to get on the phone. That has not happened. So I'm very thankful that it has been as smooth as it has been.
Awesome. Happy to hear that. Our people team has also conducted extended onboarding interviews with her, asking her how she's feeling, how she's adapting, and yeah, she's happy that you're listening to her suggestions. She's happy that she was able to cover for you during your vacation, and that you came back and you congratulated her for doing a good job. You know, people love to feel valued and appreciated, and she pointed that out. So that talks well about your leadership skills, and good job there for you as well. Is a business owner is watching this right now and is still stuck in the weeds, and you know, most of our challenges as business owners, especially starting as entrepreneurs, is to let go. We don't want to let go because this precious thing that we built ourselves or that we bought, we think that nobody else will care as we do or will do it as well as we do. What would you tell them now that you have experienced building up a team, even a global team with Dana in Latin America working remotely for you? What would you advise them?
It would be a couple of things. And as an owner of, this is what, my fifth business, I guess, and of which two of them I have sold, so grown and sold. My advice to any business owner that's stuck in the weeds, first of all, we've covered it: own your calendar, own your time, understand what you can delegate and get off your plate, and hire that person out at whatever the hourly rate might look like. There's a realization I had in my first business. I started it when I was 27 years old. I was probably in early 30s by this point. So school of hard knocks, right? Like I said, hey, I went to school for business, but I got my master's degree only after operating my business for 4 years. So the school of hard knocks, in other words, the learning curve. But what I realized with staff, and this may not sound, positive in all aspects, but what I had to come to the realization of is my 80% effort is their 100% effort. And there's no way around it. It's not their business. They're not fully invested the way you are as a business owner. Some of them are there for a paycheck, and that's okay. Some of them want a career, and that's better. But at the end of the day, it's your baby, and you are the one that's going to work a 16-hour day. Most of your staff will not. They will, clock out at whatever time it might look like. So the realization that, and the challenge of, I have to delegate work, but I also have to be prepared that they're not going to run as hard and fast as me as the owner. And that was a tough one for them.
Yeah, I get it. As Dan Martel says, 80% done by somebody else is 100% freaking awesome to you because you're not spending your time doing it yourself. And at the same time, with enough reps, they couldn't even do it better than you, right? Because it's their only hat. It's the only hat they're wearing versus the multiple hats that you as a business owner or entrepreneur are wearing at the same time. And now to wrap it up, on the other hand, what's a piece of popular business advice that you've totally ignored during your career and you're glad that you did?
Great question. I ignored, and I guess part of it is, now I'm thinking of the right way to word this. So there are so many new shiny nickels out there that come along, and I see a lot of business owners jump on the bandwagon before it's truly vetted, and vetted in the sense that A, it works, B, you can apply it to your own business, and C, there's a track record of some level of success of whatever that product or service looks like. So I would arguably say, and I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the quick adopter. I am a lagger, but I'm still on the quick adopter end of the lagger. If that makes sense. So I'm watching and analyzing, but I'm not going to jump onto something because I did in my early career and went down a lot of different roads that ended up nowhere. And I ended up wasting a lot of time doing things instead of what I thought would help grow my business. It ended up not growing my business. And so I just by again the school of experience and hard knocks, I will be that late adopter in the early adopter category.
Yeah, that I remember when someone in our networking group said, "Oh, Randy, you should meet Chuck," and he wanted to introduce us to. And I told him, "Yeah, we've been already talking. He's been speaking with someone in my team, Takla, one of our account managers." And I remember you saying, "Yeah, I'm doing the road test with Randy, with just 10 hours a week, bookkeeper, executive assistant to test the road." And yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that this first quarter with Dana is being great, and we can meet maybe in another 3 months to check how things are going and how that test road is going also for you.
Yeah, and I appreciate you tapping on my shoulder to share some insights that way as well, Randy. It's been enjoyable. I've really enjoyed working with your organization. 3 months down the road, I'd love maybe a different topic of focusing on the revenue line or something to that effect, because I know as a business owner that's what drives it, and so that would be a great topic for us to cover.
Of course, how you can increase your net profit, your margins by hiring remote talent and helping someone else significantly improve their life in another country.
That's true, and that's that's been the kind of enjoyable part of getting to know Dana is hey, what'd you do this weekend, right? And you get to know the person, and it does make a difference.
It's really a win-win deal. Thank you so much, Chuck, for being here. We've also enjoyed a lot working with you these 3 months, and cheers to a long-term business partnership together.
Awesome, Randy. Thank you as well.